Hello everyone, Simon here from Higher Plane Games. Hope you're having a great day and welcome to my PS2 physical games collection. In the advent of all the digital age and all of the things being taken away from us and we've only got licenses and stuff, I've been feeling particularly protective over my physical games collection lately. So basically, the long and short of it is I live in a flat, I filled it up with computer games, but I don't want to sell anything because I want to keep what I've bought. So what I've been doing, bear with me, is I've been slowly buying over time from dvdbinders.co.uk is where I get these from, hashtag not sponsored. And the idea of these is that they're little slips that can let you put in 2 discs there. So if you've got like a 2-disc special edition DVD, that works out quite nicely. Or anime for me personally, where it's a 12 episode like 2-disc edition. I'm like, but you can still put the cover art in here, and there's enough room for instruction manuals and stuff like that as well. So it's perfect for games, perfect for DVDs. What I found, and this is me being proper stingy, is I then get sandwich bag ties or like twisters, and these you can put, basically you can pop these out. I'll do one now. So that you can then basically put them into like a ring binder if you really wanted to. But because I'm so pressed for space and I've bought so bloody much over my entire life, mainly pre-owned, I must admit, this is going to make me look richer than I am. But I've been storing them in these really useful storage boxes, and then I'm going to numericalize them on A to Z and still keep everything. I have no issue with devaluing stuff and not having them in the PlayStation box anymore because I have no interest in selling any of it. These are all mine, I've bought them, I play them, I love to play games, this is all I'm about. So yeah, I thought, well, since I'm going to be doing this will be the last time that I kind of have all of these games in PlayStation box format. So I thought it'd be a good idea to just hold up every game that I've owned, say a sentence about it, put it to a side, and then over time I'll kind of, the next week or so, I'll be slowly putting them into these like little slips. But I'd already started when I came up with this idea, so apologies. The first like A to F is already been binded. So yeah, a couple of things from this. Firstly, that's what I'm doing, and yay for physical games. And remember owning games and actually owning the property that you bought. Jesus Christ. Secondly, if there's games that I hold up that I've not put on my channel yet, of which the majority of this haven't, but you'd like to see a playthrough or specific stuff about this, I'm bringing back retro stuff for PS1, PS2, my ZX Spectrum, all of that stuff. And I'll do separate videos on my collections of this kind of going over time. The PS2 is probably like my proudest collection and my favourite console. So I thought, well, let's start there. So yeah, without further ado, and just to kind of show actually, so that's like a PlayStation box. That's the thinness of it. You can kind of fit 3 or 4 into one box. So that's why I'm like, space save. These are super expensive though, so I've been really having to chip away at these over like years to get enough to kind of make a dent to my collection. So I'm going to shut up now, put that over there. I will have to edit this video where I'm like lifting shit out everywhere. But anyway, right. Let's start with box numero uno. Now they're kind of A to Z-ish in boxes of stuff, so be kind and don't at me if like it's not entirely perfect. So let's start off with Armored Core 2. I quite enjoy the Armored Core series. Isn't it time that that comes back? They took me a while to get into though. I came late to it. I bought Armored Core 2. Oh, and Armored Core 3. Pre-owned, basically. Do you remember when Game Station in the UK? Oh, and I used to do like 3 for 10 or 3 for 5, and then it was 4 for 10, wasn't it? Yeah. That's where I got lots of things late on in the thing. Love both of those games. Really good tactical combat. And of course, FromSoft, they've now gone on to do bigger and better things, apparently. So that's all good. Oh, continuing on. Asterix at the Olympic Games. I don't remember this game at all. But I do quite like the Asterix platform games. They're like really simple. They remind me very much of movie tie-in games from a bygone age, where but they were good, if that makes sense. I much prefer though, and these have just been re-released actually as kind of like big beefier editions. Asterix and Obelisk XXL2 Mission Las Vegum. Big fan of that game and the first one as well. And just to show actually, kind of that's what you do with the disc on the back. I've never had scratches on anything kind of happen so far, and I kind of tested out some before I started committing to this because I was like, don't be ruining my games. Oh, that's not an A, we can't do that yet. Oh, we're going into the Atelier Iris series, Atelier Iris Eternal Mana. This is due for a bit of a HD remastering coming along, and the Atelier series does like to pump out a new game like every 9 months. If Atelier was a mother and a female, it would be constantly pregnant. But I really liked the Atelier Iris series. Atelier has kind of gone like that over recent times, where it started to kind of branch out. Now you've got Atelier Iris 2, the Azoth of Destiny. And there is Atelier Iris 3 somewhere, but it's not the next one that's popped up on my list. I feel triggered already. Ooh! Okay. Ape Escape 3. I love the Ape Escape series. So good. Ape Escape 1 on the PS1 obviously was the first one that game that required you to use the PlayStation DualShock the DualShock sticks. You never had to use it on the original PlayStation 1 until that came out. And here's how geeky I am. I used to buy the official PlayStation magazine, and I swear that was like number 38 or 39 when it was like a big huge thing that I was like, oh, because I used to collect the demo discs, and I've still got them somewhere. Aqua Wetrix 2.0. Ha 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 ha. Now, there's a story, a very personal one behind this. Great game, great puzzle game. I am terrible at it. I never last more than like 90 seconds. So I used to work part-time at an English people will know what I'm saying, Index. It was the shit version of Argos, where everyone was like, oh, if you couldn't afford Argos, you'd go to Index for like 20p cheaper, but it would be like 20% less quality. So I used to work there. And then basically I do that when I was going off to college. And this game was the first PS2 game I ever bought, but I bought it before I bought a PlayStation 2 because it was £5 in the pre-owned section. And I was like, why is a new PS2 game £5 in the pre-owned section, for starters? But I just remember thinking, that's my commitment. I will save up and buy a PS2 so I can play that game. Special me. Amplitude. Yes, I've got plenty of this one on my channel. Harmonix, before they did Rock Band, did Amplitude, and before that Frequency. Fantastic rhythm action game. David Bowie, Blink-182, Pink, Pod, Run DMC, Garbage, Kwarashi. Oh yes, great game, great game. Oh, Alter Echo, platformer. Pretty good. Bit rough around the edges if I remember. It's been a while since I played that one. Good game. Altered Beast. Oh, sorry, I've just realised it's shining through on the light. Altered Beast was obviously an arcade classic from the 90s. This was their reboot. I remember this game being really hard. I don't know if that's just me sucking though, because I'm not the best gamer. Oh, and here is an actual TV show game that might actually be quite good. Alias. Sorry, I'm trying to... Must make sure that it doesn't shine in the camera. By Acclaim. Rip Acclaim. Good little game. I've got some of this game on my channel, but not very much because I'm terrible at it. Air Ranger Rescue Helicopter by Midas Games. Midas Games, like I remember people used to judge the quality if a PS2 game came out as a CD and not a DVD because it was showing like, oh, the game's really small. But Midas was like cheap and budget. I guess they were the PS2 equivalent of what you currently get now with Ratalaika games. But they had some good ideas, and they would import over obscure Japanese titles, which was why I used to like Midas games. Oh, here's a classic. And they're doing a sequel right now, actually. Alien Hominoid. There's a sequel on PC being, I think it's in early access at the moment, or it's coming to early access soon. Fantastic. Proper old school, side-scrolling, Contra, but on LSD. That's how I'd describe that. Seven Sins. This trailer, before I had to take down all the trailers on the channel, got a couple of 100,000 views, if I remember rightly, because it was basically if The Sims had sex. I bought it. It sold for me. Okay. Ooh. Seven Wonders of the Ancient World. That is a match 3 game. Very, very simple. Ooh, now, I have this. I don't think I've played it yet. 24 the game. I think it was one of those where I wanted, it was like a 4 for 10 offer, and I was like, oh, well, we'll have that as well. I will get around to playing that though. A-Train 6. Now we're currently on, is it A-Train 9? I think we're on at the minute. So it's a series that's taken its time. What's that subtitle? Simulation Game Railroad Management Urban Development. Apparently, I paid $14.97 for that. I don't think so. ArtDink though, great little company. Always doing weird and wonderful simulation games. But A-Train has definitely got better with age, I think, over time. Activision Anthology. Bum bum bum. Over 45 radical games in one. And so I got this because my brother had an Atari 2600 and I was too young at the time. I was about 3. So he used to lord that in front of me. Age of Empires 2, The Age of Kings. Bum-bum-bum. So I didn't have a PC that was capable of gaming properly in the early 2000s. So that's why I would grasp at anything from this. I do love the Age of Empires soundtracks. So yeah, anything that is proper like massive global tactical stuff, I'd have to get on PlayStation. Oh, we've got a couple coming up. Ace Combat: The Balkan War. And also, Ace Combat Squadron Leader. And Ace Combat Distant Thunder. Trio of Ace Combat games there. Ace Combat 7, the most recent one that's on PS4, I have bought, and it is about 3 away from my next to play in my back catalogue. I really enjoy the Ace Combat games. I'm not very good at them though, so if you want playthroughs of any of that, it's going to just be a smash carnage. I'm really sorry. You won't come to it for good gameplay. You'll just be like, oh, this was my childhood crashing into the ground. Here we go. Ape Escape 2. Ah, such a game. Adore this game. Adore the whole Ape Escape series, to be honest. I think it's done no wrong. Here it is. Atelier Iris 3, Grand Phantasm. Oh. Love that RPG series. And Avatar, The Legend of Aang. THQ and Nickelodeon. I don't think that probably spells top tier quality, but we'll go from there. Oh, free exclusive Avatar training card inside. I wonder. Oh no, it's just the instruction manual. Okay. Clearly the pre-owned version that I bought did not contain said training card. Disgraceful. Okay. So that's A. I'm just seeing, oh no, I've got some more A's here. Hang on. Aqua Teen Hunger Force Zombie Ninja Pro-Am. Now, I bought this game thinking it was one genre, and it's so not. It's like a top-down RPG, comedy, like lots of blood and guts everywhere stuff. But that's not how it looked on the back of the game. So when I played it, I was like, this is terrible marketing. But actually, quite a decent game. I love Olympic game stuff. So Athens 2004, big fan. But then anything that's like a stick waggler or like a button masher and all that kind of stuff, I'm all over. So Athens 2004, thumbs up from me. I think we've got some gameplay on the channel of that already. Not sure. Oh, Atlantis, the New World 3, or Atlantis 3, the New World. Cryo used to do loads of point and click adventures. They were all archaic. They had terrible stories. But Stefan Pique, P-I-C-Q, used to do the soundtrack with Pierre Estevez. And they were really weird, and they used to use really cool instruments to make them. So I used to be a really big fan of the music, which would help you if you was getting through like the most archaic, like 1990 style point and click adventure puzzles. Aha! Another underrated JRPG series coming next. Don Lico, Melody of Elima, or Elimia, from Gust. And then Tonlico 2, Melody of Meta Felicia. Forgotten what that one was called. This is super rare in the UK, if I remember rightly, because it had like a botched release. So I remember getting Tonlico 2 like halfway through the PS3 era. So I've not actually completed that. I need to go back and finish that one off. Racing fans, Auto Modelista, cel-shaded racing game. Great fun, highly stylized. Capcom doing racing games. Whatever next. Ark, Twilight of the Spirits. You can get this on the, I think it's been re-released again as a PS4, like PS2 download title. Proper good RPG. It's kind of a straddle between a JRPG and a Western RPG, which makes it feel quite unique, I think, in my opinion. Area 51, an FPS in my collection. Whatever next. Not a fan of FPSs, but this is one of the more enjoyable FPSs that I have played in my lifetime, of which I have not played many, so I'm not really a great person with that. Okay, on to the bees. The Bible game. Love that. Send up Bible show mini game with do unto others. I've got playthrough of that on the channel if you're interested in how a Bible can be turned into a mini game collection. Beyond Good or Evil. Fantastic game. Been ages since I played it actually. I need to go back and revisit. It's gone. I know they did the kind of PS3-ish upscaling of it. Is that having a sequel or not? I can't remember. It deserves it. Proper hidden gem in gaming for me. This probably isn't the B-movie game. I do like movie tie-in games because they're just mindless. And that is a mindless platformer. Probably driving you mad. Beatdown, Fists of Vengeance. Capcom doing 3D beat-em-up styled platform adventures. Good fun. I think I was looking like for a Vigilante Double Dragon style thing with that, but it's much more 3D motion. Battle Construction Vehicles. This is a good kind of explanation of the things that Midas that I was saying earlier would bring over, because this is a bizarre game. You literally are like cranes on building sites trying to smash each other up. It's proper clunky. I think I've got some gameplay on my channel as we go. Baroque RPG, very obscure, very weird, quite Marmitey. I kind of went from one extreme to the other when I was playing this game. But what I did like, and they're still going, I think, Rising Star Games, the whole point of that initiative was to set up to start importing Japanese niche weird games over. So I'd actively go and support those because I like the weird stuff, as people on this channel would know. Burnout 2, Point of Impact. Can we have a proper Burnout game back again? None of this kind of ridiculous shit where sometimes I don't want like a massive overworld connected online experience. I just want to have mindless arcade races where when I hit something, it just explodes and it's just everything everywhere. I think we're overthinking the Burnout genre at the moment. Oh dear, The Bouncer. This was panned, wasn't it, when it came out? I find it like, I suppose it's like, what is it when you fall in love with your captor? Stockholm Syndrome. That's it. That's what I think of when I think of The Bouncer, because it is a terrible game in so many ways, yet it has such a unique charm to it that I do go back to it and play it. Breath of Fire, Dragon Quarter. That is 4, isn't it? Or 5? I think it's 5 in the kind of Breath of Fire series. I'm sure it's 5. Yes, I quite like the Breath of Fire games. I think they're hugely underrated or underrepresented. It's like they've fallen off the face of the earth over the last 10 years. But with all of the different... I suppose because it's under Capcom, that might be why. If it was under Square Enix, we'd be having a remaster by now. Brian Lara, International Cricket, 2005. Codemasters doing sports games that aren't racing. Nanny. Nandeska. Blood Will Tell. Tezuka Osamu's Dororo. Sega game. I thought it was by Sega, yeah. Kind of Castlevania-ish, but not at the same time. But I think deserved more attention than what it got. As did quite a few Sega games in the PS2 era, I think. I think everyone was just like, why don't you have a console? Bloody Roar 3. That's a series that's died a death, hasn't it? Hudson. Oh, Virgin Interactive. Ugh. It's funny when you think, oh God, these things aren't running anymore. I think Hudson might still be going. So that's a fighting game, if you don't know what the Bloody Roar series is, but you transform from humans into animal beasts to then do like special attacks and stuff. Good fun. Bomberman Hardball. Because we all want a golf and tennis version of Bomberman. I love it when they're just like, stick an IP on it, it'll be fine. Which is probably also exemplified by Bomberman Kart. I don't think I've got any gameplay of this on the channel. It's not a terrible kart game, but if you think of mascots that have no right being in a kart game making a kart game, Pac-Man Kart is way better. I'll just leave it there. Boogie. I was disappointed with this. So this was a kind of mashup of a dance game, but with the SingStar microphones you could kind of sing along. But it didn't really let you do anything of either. And so Boogie was a flop for me, I'm afraid. Unlike B-Boy, which is a B-Boy rhythm action game. Really good. Kind of seen that come back recently with Floor Kids as like an indie alternative to this. I don't think I've got B-Boy on this channel. That's I mental note needs to be. The original The Bard's Tale on PS2. They've recently done, obviously Bard's Tale 4 I think is on PS4. Really good, stupid British humour, sending up of the genre. Thumbs up from me. Good fun. Battle Engine Aquila from Lost Toys, who were supposed to be a big, huge deal back in the turn of the millennium. Didn't really kind of turn out, did it? I remember everyone being like, oh, they're going to be the next big thing as like a developer. And they did some good games, but they just didn't really like sell or land very well. I don't have massive memories of this game, to be honest. So I'm going to kind of park that there. But it is, I think EDF wins out, if I just say that. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. We all know the Baldur's Gate RPGs are behemoths, and this is no exception. And the last game in this box, the Artist's Collection, The Dog Island. So this lets you basically pick a pooch, go around, just have some fun. Very lightweight, simple, easy game, just full of simple, silly stuff. So that's box 1. I'm going to pause this and we'll come back with box 2. Okay, here we are with the box 2, which annoyingly I think is going to end up starting with D's and then go to C's just because of the way I've packed it. Ugh, bear with me. We're still vaguely on the alphabet. Okay, this one looks like it, because it's D, it's full of Disney games. Okay, so we're going to kick off with Disney's Monster Inc. Scare Island. Classic. One of those games, I think, where it's not like a terrible game or a great game. It's a good game, but because you associate it with great characters and the movie and all of that, there was an era where Disney Pixar, when it was all kind of new and like, ooh, it couldn't do too much wrong. Disney's Donald Duck PK. Interesting platformer as well. Taking it into the 3D realm for Donald Duck. Again, aimed at the little uns more than anything else, but perfectly serviceable and fine. Disney's Bolt. I don't remember this one being particularly good, but it's been ages since I played it. So, and it was one of the last PS2 games I think I bought. So, yeah, it's not left a memory in for me. So, meh. There we go. Same for this one, actually. Disney's The Haunted Mansion. Wasn't that an Eddie Murphy film? Yeah. Again, by the numbers kind of platformer. Nothing too much exciting to write home about there, but I know film games get quite a lot of views on my channel, so if you want to see it, just let us know. Ratatouille from Disney Pixar as well. I remember that one being quite easy for some reason. If someone now is like, do a video, and then I'm terrible at it, I will live to eat those words. So with Disney Pixar Cars, not a racing game, but a kind of weird amalgamation of racing and platformy type things. The Cars game, the best Cars game that there is that's came out was the Cars game, is it Cars 2 on PS3? Where it's like a full-on kart racer, and I'm like, yes. And they actually did it really well, so bizarrely. Disney's Stitch Experiment 626. Again, they're all made by the same kind of thing, by Danger High Voltage, a lot of these. So they're all of kind of the same kind of quality and consistency. I don't remember this one being too bad, though. Good fun little platformer. I did enjoy this one, though. Disney's Free Ride. So this is a 2D, or 2.5D, I guess I'd say, where you're just constantly sliding around, almost like your street, like surfing, but through the jungle. Good fun. And it just a nice spin on something that is simple, keeps it as a 2D platformer style, but you can do tricks and all that kind of stuff. Bringing out the Buzz Buzzers, we've got Disney Think Fast. Oh yes, which was the Disney version of Buzz. Good fun. Got any more Disneys? Well, we do, but we've got some other stuff that's popped up first. Oh, here's a good combo. I'll bring them up together because they are back to back. Dark Cloud and Dark Chronicle. You can get, I think it's Dark Chronicle is on the PlayStation Network. I don't know if Dark Cloud is. It's one or the other. I don't think it's both. But both fantastic RPGs, especially Dark Chronicle, which does everything that Dark Cloud was doing, but does it better and explains it more, and really kind of cemented Level 5's reputation for RPG making. Oh, here we go. Oh Christ! Right, I'll go through these in quick succession. I love rhythm games, if you couldn't tell, and music games. So when they started pairing up the iToy on PS2 with Dance Dance Revolution and stuff like that, we have Dancing Stage Max, Dancing Stage Supernova 2, Dancing Stage Supernova 1, Dancing Stage Megamix, and Dancing Stage Fusion. All 5 sitting pretty, looking lovely. Not all of them, I think, feature the Ito. Oh God, let's have a look at the front here. Features the hits from, let's all go back in time, Jamelia, Sugar Babes, Big Brothers, spelt Brovaz, fucking hell, Downfall of Humanity, Atomic Kitten, Kylie, Daniel Bedingfield. Where did he go? Yeah, has it got any more on the front? The original, it keeps on saying the original and still the best, and that's because other people keep ripping it off. Here we go, Dancing Stage Max, Milo, who? Fatboy Slim, Franz Ferdinand, Natasha Bedingfield. Clearly the Bedingfields had a deal. Sugar Babes, Christina Milian. Lots of people I've forgotten. Okay, and here we go. Straight away, I'm straight into 2 of its rivals. So Dance UK. I think I might have some stuff on my channel. I don't know if this will work now, actually. So the thing with Dance UK was that instead of it being a 4-arrow thing, it was an 8-arrow dance mat. But the dance mat was awful. And so the sensors started moving around. And so although I still have the Dance UK dance mat, featuring Liberty X, Mystique, DJ Sammy, Sugar Babes, the dance mat basically was terrible, and that was what would break this game. So if I can get the dance mat to work, that should still work. And then Codemasters done its own one, Dance Factory. But the point of this was that you could dance to your own CDs. Well done, Codies. And that one's not so bad, actually. So the idea is that you would then inject the game CD, put in your own CD, obviously into the PS2, and it would kind of generate the arrows for you to play, which used to be fun because my I collect game music, so I'd put in like weird and wonderful like Final Fantasy piano collections, and it would be like because it doesn't understand that each piano note it thinks is like a beat, so it's just like and you're like, this is a piano playing like Aerith's theme on a piano, and it's like all the arrows everywhere, and you're like, this does not work, but it is amused. Okay, Dakar 2. I think I've got that on my channel. Definitely got Dakar on there. But that's not too bad from Acclaim anyway. Dodgeball, cheap and cheerful version of Dodgeball. Nothing really much to say about that. It just does what it says on the tin. Destroy All Humans 2. Of course, the first one's just recently had its complete remake, which I actually picked up very recently because it was only a tenner physical. Destruction Derby Arenas. This wasn't so bad. I know people generally quite hated this. Oh look, with Network Play, the beginnings of online. People hated this. I remember it had like a bit of a negative reaction when it came out. I thought it worked quite well, and I'm a little fan of it. I still think Destruction Derby 2 is my favourite of the whole series. I go like 2, 3, 1. Sorry, 2, 3, Arenas 1. I don't know if there was another one in between. Meh. Detonator. Again, another weird Midas one. That's a puzzle game where you have to decide where you're going to put the charges so that the building comes down. Then we've got Devil May Cry 1. Devil May Cry 2, which I just nearly dropped. There we go. Ta-da. That's what it looks like when you've got 2 discs in the back, by the way. That's the first one we've come across that's got that. And to round off the set, Devil May Cry 3. I quite like the Devil May Cry games. I'm not as huge a fan, I think, as what a lot of other people are. And I know it's sacrilege, but I really like the remake that they did on, like, the complete reboot on PS3. I know! Don't cry. It's fine. Final Fantasy VII, Dirge of Cerberus, or Cerberus, rather. I was a fan of the story and everything else, but I'm not a fan of FPS-y type, gameplay-y type stuff. And I know that wasn't necessarily this, but it was gunny, which made me slightly less of a fan. But it's still good. Aha! Them are into games that I've never completed, but I still really like. Disgaea, the original. Hour of Darkness. And Disgaea 2. Cursed Memories. Complete with bonus soundtrack CD included there. I do enjoy the Disgaea games. I don't think I've ever completed one properly. But I always start with really good intentions. I will make it a mission to get through something. Oh, Disney Golf. Pluto up front. Why not? Not bad for a golf game. Not great. Reading that what you will. The Da Vinci Code. This isn't a great game if I remember rightly. It's been a while since I played it, but I remember it feeling quite wooden is what my takeaway of that is. Oh, this one's not bad. Nina Williams, Death by Degrees. I quite enjoyed that. This, for me, I think is what sparked all of the Tekken games going, we must have a kind of isometric fighty style stuff thing. Because although Death by Degrees didn't necessarily do that, and it tried to make Nina Williams into like her own spin-off sub-series, MGS-fied. I think that's where the antithesis of all of those kind of isometric things that they tried to do in the PS3 era of Tekken, kind of, which didn't really work well for me. I just prefer like the proper fighty stuff. Here's a weird one. Dark Summit. So this is a cross between a horror game and like a survival horror game and snowboarding. Who knew? But I just like the fact that it's such like what weird genre roulette game was being played when that was thought of. Love it. Deep Water, Be the Shark, I think, for this one. So those of you that want to or think, I'm going to triple check that this is the game I'm thinking of. No, you catch the shark. Sorry. And shoot the shark. It's basically Jaws the movie. Sorry, I thought this was. There's a game where you do play as like the shark, but this isn't that. Deep Water is a fishing game, but with sharks in the sea. Def Jam Vendetta. No bad, no bad. Good bit of wrestling going on with lots of extra angst. You can tell it's going to be over the top because it's an EA Sports big game. A remake of Defender, because we all needed that in the PS2 era. Didn't really work too well, if I remember rightly, either. And Demon Chaos here, which, if I remember rightly, is a bit like a Dynasty Wars style. Yes, it is. I love this. 65,000 enemies on screen at once. I don't think so. Someone desperately trying to make a spin-off of Dynasty Warriors there so that they can have like Demon Chaos 1,000,000th Extreme Edition. But only the one Demon Chaos, if I remember rightly. Oh, one of my all-time faves, Dog's Life. Love this game. Any game where you can shit as a dog. Winner. Downforce. Underrated racing game. By Titus, actually, who did Incredible Crisis, one of my main favourite games. And they did a couple of racing games that were not huge winners on the sales, but actually I think are really well done. And Downforce, I think, is their best. So, yeah, under the radar recommendation. I think I might have a video of this on my channel already, but only the one. Downhill Domination from Codemasters, when they used to do BMX racing games. Good game. They nailed, actually, the BMX kind of downhill stuff really, really well. Oh, what I love with this, maybe one day I'll phone it just to see if it exists. Cheat Line. 09065 558898 in the UK. UK calls cost £1 a minute. What? Code is. It's almost like you were doing day one DLC, but just in the form of a phone line. Dr. Muto. That was quite a good little platformer as well. Very enjoyable. You got to shapeshift into different beings, if I remember rightly. Oh, well, creatures, rather. God, this is thick. Must have it's got a massive instruction manual, that's why. Dragon's Lair 3D Special Edition. How many times has this game come out now? I'm still terrible at it. You need the reflexes to get through the FMV adventure. This was my first Dragon's Quest game. Dragon Quest, The Journey of the Cursed King. I'd not played a Dragon Quest game before this one. And it introduced me to the series really well. And has done me proud. And the ones that I've got on PlayStation 3, definitely the PlayStation 4 one, I'm a huge fan. Dragon Rage from 3DO. I don't think that company's still going anymore. Yeah, you do actually. You play as the dragon, going around basically smashing up everything. But it is, as with all 3DO games, very rough around the edges, despite being a good idea. So, not great concept, not great delivery. Same can be said for this. Drakan, The Ancient Gates. This was kind of like a Baldur's Gate style, but on a budget, I guess is probably the best way to describe that. Aha! Then we've got Drakengard, or Drakengard. Great game, highly underrated, unknown, I guess, compared to a lot of other Square Enix titles. And I'd kind of hoped it was going to make a bigger comeback when it did for Drakengard 3, but that seemed to fall by the wayside as well, didn't it? And there's Drakengard 2. This game was exceptionally rare, I think, in the UK. Isn't it weird that Square Enix was being published by Ubisoft? What alternate world are we in? Anyway, yeah, Drakengard 2 barely made it to the UK. And I'm glad it did, because it's a good game. But yeah, that series needs some love. As does this series. Driver, or Driver 3. Good, bad, both. That's what it says on the back. But I remember this game being good. Very good, in fact. The Driver series is infamous for Driver 1 having one of the most difficult tutorials ever in gaming history. And because you couldn't skip the tutorial, it's literally the first mission. Loads of people just stopped there. And Driver 3 kind of solved that. And it was like merging together the driving around, a bit like the Getaway games, which we'll get to later. But it was bringing in that GTA influence into it so that it became much more storied rather than its kind of original mechanics, which was where you would drive around and then like set up cameras and make yourself like look like you was creating a chase in a scene of a movie. This is on the channel, Driven to Destruction, the best Destruction Derby clone on PS2. Probably actually outdoing Destruction Derby Arenas. Recommended. This one's a weird one. I kind of recommend this. Drome Racers, Lego racing game. It's good fun. It's trying to make it like futuristic Formula One, a bit like, I think I've also got it in this as well, if it's on PS2, I'm sure it is, the Jacques Villeneuve game, where it's like, oh, it's Formula One, but in the year 3000, and look, we're on the roof. I feel like it was trying to borrow bits from Roll Cage, but less well. Okay, Duel Masters from Atari. Check out that shimmer on the front cover. Contains 10 free trading cards, apparently. I don't know what game it was that it was trading, but it is exactly the type of game that you expect that to be. into battles with your cards. Yu-Gi-Oh! Eat your heart out. But it's not bad, actually. For ages since I played that. These games have stood the test of time, I think, quite well. Dynasty Tactics 2. Dynasty Tactics 1 here as well? Should be. No, it must be in the next box. I think the Dynasty Warriors tactics version of the games are actually really fantastic. Hugely in-depth. And I wish that they kind of brought that back as its own standalone thing instead of trying to half weave it into the Dynasty Warriors stuff that they've got going on. And talking of Dynasty Warriors, we have Dynasty Warriors 2, which was one of the very first PS2 games I ever bought. Dynasty Warrior 4 Empires, and that was where they was trying to hybrid in the tactics stuff into Dynasty Warriors to try and make it a bit more tactical of where you would take over and that kind of stuff from an overall strategic point of view. And I always thought the Empires things went really well, actually. I think they balanced it quite nicely. And then I went for Dynasty Warriors 5 Extreme Legends as well. Okay, that's that for that box. I hope I've not lost you all, and I hope you've all got some stuff down memory lane. Let me pause this video whilst I grab the next one. Okay, we're into box 3 now, and I can see F's and E's in here. It's painful for me that it's not in perfect order, but I'm sure it will be painful for you too. So what have we got in this box? I can tell you it's lots of Final Fantasy and F1 games. But we'll kick off with Family Guy, the video game. Underrated, good fun, good humour. I've never really watched Family Guy, so maybe it appeared fresh and humorous more to me than it does to fans of the TV show. I don't know, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. F1 Racing Championship. This game came out on PS1 as well as PS2. I bought the PS2 version because my PS1 version of this game, I bought it online because it was really, really late on, and it was broke on arrival. So that's why I was like, well, fine, I'll have the PS2 version as well. Video Systems did a couple of games in the F1 series. They were good. They weren't quite as good as the mainstream F1 ones. But that was back when Formula 1 used to give out its license to 3 or 4 different companies at once. Then we've got the fantastic Flat Out series. Flat Out 1. There. Great fun as a racing game. Flat Out 2. Even better. Crashing harder, just as much more. Empire as a publisher. Oh, back in the day. Then moving away from racing games, excellent Flipnik, the PS2 pinball platformer puzzler. Again, very niche. I don't think there was another game like it for a decade. Really good fun game. I think I've got one video of the tutorial of this game on my channel. Flow Urban Dance Uprising. Rhythm action game. Kind of starting to try and be a bit like B-Boy that you have seen earlier on in the video, but not as good. And it also uses the iToy. Flushed Away as a platformer. I don't remember this one being particularly great, and I remember that being quite glitchy. I might need a bit of a refresh on that. It's done by D3, so that probably explains some of the bugs. Ooh. From Russia with Love 007. I remember this one being quite good. I don't remember getting very far in it though, if I remember. So it'd be good to go down memory lane of that. Oh, here we go. F1 2002 from EA, which has made F1 Championship Season 2000. And that is because I have a funny feeling that their F1 Championship came out, but it was at the beginning of the year, but it was for 99 as well. And I think it was also because they done F1 Career Challenge. So basically, when they ran out of the license to cover 99 to 2002, they was like, screw it, let's make a game where you can do all 4 years. I love this concept. Codies. You know it makes sense. Do it. Especially if you was able to do your own team, but you had your own drivers. Yeah, anyway. Hold on. F1 2001, 2001. This came with the review of the 2000 F1 season DVD, which was great. Limited edition pack. This was before the Sony official F1 games, and I'm sure it's from 2002 onwards. They started to put in pressure sensors to the accelerator, so you had to press and hold the accelerator harder to go faster, and that ruined a couple of the F1 games for me because you were basically having to break the controller to play. It was ridiculous. And I think it was F1 2002 where it was one of the biggest crimes of that game, where it had it again. That also came with the 2001 season review. Get to play as Alex Young. F1 2003 was a step in the right direction because if I remember rightly, they took away some of that pressure sensitive shit. PS2 exclusive as well. Nice. And back then, so what I used to do with these games was I used to run complete spectator championships of full races and just watch them go round. Should do that again. See what weirdness. The problem with these games is that the AI was so rigid, unlike the Jeff Crammond games, that everyone would reach the same position again. So what you'd have to do is use the grid editor to kind of reverse grid everything and just wait for everyone to get back to their same positions. Same with F1 04. If I remember rightly, this is when actually it was this one where the pressure sensitivity was at its worst, along with 02, and it did also slightly ruin 05, and it ruined 06 a little bit as well. And then of course F1 06 came out here on PS2, and then you had F1 Championship Edition that came out on PS3 that was 2006 season as well. I might see if I can do some kind of side-by-side comparisons or something. I think that'd be quite interesting. Okay, is that it for the F1 games for a bit? I think so. Frankie Dettori Racing. So I should explain, and I've refilled my drink just in case you're looking for continuity. My dad is Scottish and he loves betting on horses. So in my household as a family, I would be arguing to get the Formula One on, but I would only be able to get it on so long as my dad could then watch all of the horse racing either side of anything that was going on. So yeah, I grew up with horse racing and I quite enjoy horse racing games, and the Frankie Dettori one is actually good. Moving away from all of that, Freak Out. Superb platform game, 3D platformer. So you play as... oh, hang on. No, I'm thinking of Ballistic. My bad. Let me just triple check. No, okay, right. I shall just flick on the back. Oh, sorry. This is how you can tell I'm doing this on the fly. So this game is like an abstract, weird and wonderful, like you've had a mental breakdown and everything is zany and bold colours everywhere for a platformer. I still enjoyed this. I was thinking of Ballistic, which was where you was a rabbit on a ball and chain, and you had to kind of fling each other around a little bit. Great fun. Freaky Flyers, racing game, but with planes, obviously. I remember that being quite good fun. God, that woman's boobs. Look at it. That's a kid's... Oh, it's a 12 plus, but still. It's a comedy kids game. Come on. Ooh, I remember this being touted as being great, and then I don't remember it being great when I played it. Free running parkour game. I don't remember playing very much of it though, so that deserves something to come back to. This game was great though. Freak Style. EA Berg again doing Berg Sports. So yeah, Freak Style. Pretty much everything that EA Big done I thought was great because they were pure arcade frills and spills. And it was a shame that they shut down that studio. I think it was Shocks that got it shut down, wasn't it? I remember this game being quite good. Forgotten Realms Demon Stone. Kind of RPG-esque type experience from Atari. Frequency from Harmonix, their first rhythm action game on the PS2. Absolute golden game. As is actually Fur Fighters, Vigo's Revenge. I think it was kind of the PS2's answer to Conker's Bad Fur Day. I didn't realise it was by Bizarre Creations. Well, that's why it's good then. Bizarre always done great games. But yeah, very playable. And you know me, I'm not particularly a shooty kind of fan, but that it's toys shooting each other. That's the way to get me in. Futurama game was good, wasn't it? By SCI. Don't think they're in existence anymore, sadly. But yeah, the Futurama game was great. And although it doesn't look any good, Future Tactics The Uprising I thought was not a bad tactics game. I think probably by today's standards it doesn't hold up nearly as well. But back then there wasn't tons of tactic games on the PS2, so I would yum them up. Here we go. Final Fantasy X. Oh, I adore that game. I've got the Beyond Final Fantasy disc on the back as well, which I think I ripped and I put onto this channel, and then I think it got copyright strike and I had to take it down. Might have to, if I take a look at my copyright strikes and people want to see that, I'll see if I can rip it again and survive the strike. I don't want my channel going though. And then we've got Final Fantasy X2. I know this is Marmite to a lot of people, but as a game to actually play and enjoy, I thought the battle system was fantastic as an RPG. Good soundtrack, and yeah, it's Final Fantasy doing comedy, I guess, and lightheartedness. Oh, I might get into trouble for this. Possibly my least favourite Final Fantasy ever. Oh. I come to Final Fantasy for engaging stories, and I found 12 to be exceptionally stuffy. With the characters being quite bland, I found the world to be really like regimented and just difficult to deal with. Yeah, and my opinion hasn't necessarily changed. I did buy, albeit cheaply, the kind of reworked one on PS4, and I've not started it yet. And what I'm hoping to do is to try and kind of cleanse my brain so that I go into it with opened eyes again. Because Final Fantasy XII, I think I got about 50 hours of gameplay into it, and I just had to stop. And then it was about 6 years before I then came back and finished it. So I did enjoy it a bit more when I came back to finish it. Maybe it was just my mood at the time. Fahrenheit. First one from Quantic Dreams. Love that game. Awkward sex scenes. Fantavision. This is on the channel. Fireworks Simulator. Great fun. This isn't great fun. Fight Box. Why did I buy that trash? It was awful. I think I was hoping for something similar to Robot Wars, but fighting. And this is not it. Also, what is going on with that as a character face? Jesus. Grim. Continuing on the downward trend, Fighting Angels. Scraping the barrel there, 505 Game Street. Oh god, 505 Game Street before it became 505 Games. Oh, this one's good though. Firefighter FD18. The only firefighter game on the PS2 that I know of anyway. And before they all started coming out on the Wii. This was kind of a really unique experience and good fun to be had. And next comes up two games that I've never completed, but I do hold a lot of admiration for. the Forbidden Sirens 1 and 2. I never did complete them. I didn't complete Siren on PS3 either. I shit myself with these games. I'm not good with horror. I don't watch horror movies. I don't do horror games particularly either. And I stupidly was like, oh, she's just got long arms. What's the matter with her? But she's actually the person you play. She's not the baddie. She's the goodie. Yes, shat myself with those. One day, I'll be brave and go back. iToy Groove. Again, we're back to rhythm games. Using your iToy for what looks like bubblegum pop there. And these are underappreciated little mini gems as well. Everblue 1 and 2. So these are diving simulator games. And I found them, like, they're rough around the edges, don't get me wrong. But they offered such a unique and interesting experience. And they're quite chill as well. So yeah, thumbs up from me about them. We all know Everybody's Golf. Does anyone remember Everybody's Tennis? Good game. I'm glad that they ported the Everybody's kind of whatever was kind of a signal for it to be a good, accessible sports game, and that's what Everybody's Tennis is. Evil Twin, a interesting idea, poorly executed as a platformer, but it does have some good merit to it, I think. Evolution GT. I remember, I think someone's actually put some comments down that they would like to see some gameplay of this one already, because no one else seems to have put any online. Gabriele Tarquini is the main pull quote on there. Great guy. Still winning stuff today, and he's in his like late 50s, early 60s. International Track and Field. Got some of that on this channel. Rhythm Gymnastics for the win. Then we seem to... we not all of them all there. Let me just pull that one out, and then we'll go through them all. So then we get into the iToy games. So I've got iToy Astro Zoo. Now, I've not played this yet because I unwrapped it to put it in this. It is my last and most recent PS2 game that I've bought. Only a couple of years ago. So, not a couple of years ago. A couple of months ago. So, yeah. Super stuff. Look forward to seeing that. Get going. Then we've got iPlay 2. Oh, sorry, iToy Play 2. iToy Play 3. Oh, and that's come with a demo disc for Anti-Grav and Spy Toy. If you don't know what iToy is, it's the, if you've got a PlayStation 4, it's the PS4 camera, but the iToy was like the first iteration of it. And there's iToy Play, the very first one, which my mum played Wishy Washy on, and my mum is an obsessive compulsive cleaner, and she's still got the high score from like, when was this released? About 2003. Yeah, she'll still have the high score on that memory card. iToy Monkey Mania. Again, Apidscape doing good things. Which actually, it's quite funny actually, because when the Move controls all came out, again, Apidscape was at the forefront of that. It was at the forefront of analog sticks, and it was at the forefront of iToy. So Apidscape, always a good selection of games to kind of try out a new device on. I know I've got some more. I must be in a different box. Apologies. I do have more iToy games than that. Everybody's Golf. Oh. I think that was the only one that came out on the PS2. It was a quiet time for Everybody's Golf. Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future. Good upgrade of the original Echo the Dolphin, which was already a pain in the arse to play, but everyone loved it. This is also a bit of a pain in the arse to play, but beautiful and really well done. I'm a fan. I'm also a fan of Echo Knight Beyond. The Echo Knight series, I think, is kind of lost in time, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's, how do I describe it? It's a space RPG with horror elements, but not really horror at the same time. More of a horror show, Extreme Sprint 3010. That is a kind of time trial racing game. It's terrible. Anything by Phoenix essentially is dog poo. They were not good games. I think I bought 2 of them and then realised that was the common ground, and I was like, stay clear. EJ Club World. So this was when, so I used to be a huge fan of EJ products, which were on PC, and they were like music samples that you could then create your own songs. And what I used to do when I was like a teenager was upload them onto mp3.com and pretend I was like a proper musician. And this was like the PS2 equivalent. If you enjoyed the Music and Music 2000 and Music 3000 games from Cody's, this is nigh on identical and just as good. Big fan. Enter the Matrix. I thought this was quite a good game. Made by Shiny as well. I didn't realise that. Also a good game, although it took me a while to kind of click with it, is Konami's Enthusia Professional Racing. I think that's kind of been lost in the pantheon of time as well. Unlike Escape from Monkey Island. There is no weak link in the Monkey Island games. I love them all. Great fun. And this was my first RPG that I bought on PlayStation 2. Ephemeral Fantasia, and it's an RPG with like a music mini game where you play like a little lute. It's not the best game in the world, but it does some kind of interesting design choices, and it's a grind fest. Yeah, so that's that box. I think we'll go for one more box, and then we'll kind of leave that as a part 1 because this video is becoming epic. And I knew it would, but I hope this is interesting. We'll soon see. Aha! Apologies for the complete change of scenery. I'd realised I'd left one of my boxes. I wondered where all my Buzz games had gone, and I was like, there's another box. And I'd left it in my bedroom. So here is the last lot of my tiny little boxes of stuff that I'd already kind of put into slips. So I'll just run through these as quickly as possible. Stop bashing the camera, Simon. Colin McRae Rally 4. Oh yes. Loving the Colin McRae series on the PS2 era. Kart Fury Championship Racing. Great game. Good fun. Highly arcadey though. But nice to have a kart racing game as you go. Castle Ween. A very simplistic, not fantastic platformer. Celebrity Deathmatch. Not fantastic, but has some novelty value with it. Chaos Legion. Grand underrated Capcom game, in my opinion. Devil May Cry-ish, I guess is the best way to describe that. Then I've got 2 Cabela games. So I've got Cabela Big Game Hunter and Cabela Dangerous Hunts. Nigh on exactly the same game. They always are those. That's why I only ever bought those 2 and was like, And I realised that I didn't really enjoy the shooty stuff anyway. Which I also realised with my only Call of Duty game, Finest Hour. Again, I felt like I needed to try it rather than actually want it. So yeah, on to the Buzz games then. We've got Buzz Ace Racers from Buzz Junior's category. We've also got Buzz Monster Rumble and Buzz Dino Den. Yay! I really enjoyed the Buzz Junior games. It was a one hit wonder button game series, which I always appreciate, especially if you've got gamers that don't play games. Good way to get them in. Then on to Buzz itself. So I've got Buzz the Sports Quiz, Buzz the Music Quiz. Buzz, the Mega Quiz. Then Buzz, the Schools Quiz for Key Stage 2, ages 7 to 11. I was already over the age of 11 when I got that. Must complete the set. Buzz, the Hollywood Quiz. I did like that. Especially as that was before, like, Seen It became a thing. Buzz Junior Jungle Party. Ooh. Also in there as well. I feel like there's probably another couple of Buzz games kicking around that I will get to in this pile, potentially. Bionicle Heroes. So this was Lego trying to do, I guess, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers going on here. Sorry, the ambulance has just pulled up outside. Big Mother Truckers 2. Truck Me Harder. What a name. 18-wheel racing, basically. CSI Crime Investigations, 3 Dimensions of Murder. I know these things get panned. These do really well on PC, but I quite enjoy like really narrative-based puzzles and like crime solving and that kind of stuff, investigative work. And they're all much the muchness, the CSI games. They've done really well on the Wii and on PC, but I quite like them. Castlevania, Curse of Darkness. Konami diving into the Castlevania series. Not one of the classic ones, but not terrible at all. Oh, I didn't realise I owned Call of Duty 2, the big red one, as well. Interesting. Colin McRae Rally 3. Another great one from the Colin McRae series. Canis Canem Edit, or Bully, as it ended up becoming known as later on in life. Great game. Let me park those for a second. Crimson Sea 2, another spin-off from the Koei series, a bit like Dynasty Warriors if there was some more monsters involved. I think is probably the best way to describe the Crimson Sea series. Then you've got Crimson Tears from Capcom. That's like a balmy B-movie action adventure game. Quite silly, good fun. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Yay. I don't remember that being particularly good or bad. I just remember it being colourful. Need to kind of dive back and play that. Chicken Little. Don't remember that being particularly good. Koro Q. I quite like this, but again it suffers from that whole dinky RC issue where it's isometric racing, but they've made the handling really stiff. All the ones by Takara on PS2 era kind of suffer from that same issue for me. It's just a personal preference with handling of games. The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. Again, another based off the movie, kind of a 6/7 out of 10 at best. Then Circuit Maximus Chariot Wars. So I was interested in this because one of my favourite games on the ZX Spectrum was a chariot racing game. And so I was like, oh, is this going to be a good upgrade? It does contain chariots, and it does contain racing, and it does contain brutality. So ticked most of the boxes that I was looking for. Cartoon Network Racing, not the finest kart racer that is out there. Serviceable, not massively memorable. This is a good game though. Brave, The Search of the Spirit Dancer. Kind of underrated and overlooked 3D kind of mascotty platformer. Good stuff. I approve. I also approve of this. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Chaos Bleeds. That was a good 3D action adventure game based off the TV show. Again, Sierra behind that. I'm a fan of their work. Bujingai Swordmasters, starring Gact, if you like specific J-Rock. And I didn't realise that that is a man on the cover. Takes all sorts to kind of decipher what's going on. I just remember buying and playing that, and it's Devil May Cry but gone nuts is probably the best way to describe that. Burnout, the original. Woo! Not the best in the series, but a great start. Burnout Revenge, very much one of the best in the series. Very much enjoyed that one. Just seeing if I've got the other ones immediately to hand. I don't think I have. No. Broken Sword, The Sleeping Dragon. Great third entry into the Broken Sword series. I know lots of people was like, it's gone 3D, I don't like it. I very much enjoyed that one. It was 4, which kind of went a bit iffy for me, and then 5 brought it kind of back to its roots. Although it's not my favourite by any means. One of my favourite games though, Bombastic. This was the sequel to Devil Dice on the PlayStation 1, or Z if you was in Japan. Perfect in-depth puzzle game involving dice. Buster Block is essentially Breakout, but budget version. Surprisingly quite good and worthy of its budget, but buy it kind of price tag / name. Crashed is another kind of destruction derby style game. Not as good as Fallout, or Flat Out rather, in the series is, or Destruction, Death by Destruction, sorry. You can hear my like brain cogs going. I've been doing this for several hours now. Crazy Golf World Tour. It's not great. It's not that crazy either. Similarly not great is the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon game. Bit wonky around the edges. Can add on to that City Crisis. I just like the fact that I was flying around in a helicopter trying to help people and do things and save people from natural disasters, but wonky controls. Clock Tower 3, interesting game. I do like the Clock Tower series because of how you have to kind of hide and then escape from the killers. But yeah, they're all difficult to play, and this is no exception. Kokoto Platform Jumper. This is a weird one where all of the levels, I'm sure it's this one, are all circular. And so you kind of run around rings trying to get up here. It reminded me a little bit of like a circular version of Burger Time. Not bad though. Commandos 2, Chaos of Courage of Men. Men of Courage. Christ. Again, this probably works much better on a PC. Haven't they just remastered this and put it together with Praetorians as a PS4 thing as well? I think. Great game, and it's a great rendition for PlayStation, but it's one of those games that is just made to work well on a mouse and keyboard. Conflict Global Storm. I need to triple check on this. What is that? Yeah, it is a proper shooty one. I knew it wasn't like a tactics thing. Actual shooty. I don't remember that particularly at all, so it couldn't have left a great impression. Crescent Suzuki Racing. The whole point of this one was that I was intrigued by the fact that you've got sidecar racing, because it's various different types of Suzuki bikes that you get to race with, and it's not a good game. But the novelty of having the different types of bikes are there. And then rounding off with a collection of Crash games. So we've got Crash of the Titans, underrated. I think that one's actually quite good. Crash Tag Team Racing, woo 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 woo, love it. I know it's not quite Crash Team Racing, but actually I feel like this gets a raw deal for no particular reason. Crash the Wrath of Cortex, I thought was actually quite good. It doesn't move on the formula massively for Crash Bandicoot, which I think people then got meh over, and now they didn't realise what they had until it went. I personally really like Crash Twinsanity. It's where you get to play as Cortex and Crash together, and you have to kind of switch between them because they're stuck together, basically. Also, fantastic soundtrack for that game, which is entirely made by voice. And then Crash Mind Over Mutant. Notice the character design change here for these. The Sierra ones, they kind of make him into like a skinny little weasel and try to make him cartoon lifelike as opposed to like polygon cheesy grin. Doesn't work quite so well. But yeah, sorry, that was an extra box that I just had to quickly film on the next day after lunch. So, okay, and now on to the last box, and this is all of the ones that I've put into these like flat packs, and then for video 2 it's all the stuff that I've still yet to put into flat packs. So yeah, we'll go on from here. I can see some G's, so let's get going with Golden Age of Racing. I don't remember this being very good. Despite the fact that it is the Golden Age of Racing. If you're looking for anything like this, Grand Prix Legends, go and get it. It's on PC. Freaking amazing. Guilty Gear X2. So, when I bought this, I was quite snobby about fighting games, and the Guilty Gear series I did not kind of get into. I've now got into and appreciated Guilty Gear much more later in time. And so then coming back to this game, I now much better appreciate it, because when I bought it and played it to begin with, I didn't really get on with it, but I do now. So let that be a lesson to yourself, Smithy. Gauntlet 7 Sorrows. So the Gauntlet series, and I'll kind of say this as all of the Gauntlet games on PS2, and on PS1 I think there's one on there as well. They're all rough around the edges, and a bit clunky, but they remind me of like the traditional old school European RPG gaming experience, because when I think of like Spectrum and Master System games and stuff like that I was weaned up on, it was like the Ultima series and things like that, and Gauntlet for me is like that modernized. I'm probably quite alone in that thinking, but that's kind of why I quite enjoy the Gauntlet games, even though they aren't necessarily good. A good game, though, is Graffiti Kingdom by Taito. Good fun, colourful, ridiculously hyperactive platformer adventure game, and it's these kind of games that I'm really glad are starting to make a bit of a comeback, particularly through the indie scene and like Playtonic with the ukulele series and all that kind of stuff. We're getting our play back, and that's what I really want in gaming, because I adore serious games, but sometimes I just want to chill with something colourful and cute and fun. The Getaway, Black Monday. That was a sequel to The Getaway. Great, good fun games. I think Grand Theft Auto, the modern era, takes a lot from the Getaway games. I'm not sure who kind of done what first, because I wasn't really following GTA. Never have, never will probably. But I just like the fact that that is GTA. If it was like London Scaza, whatever, blow the bloody doors off. I enjoyed this game, Ghost Hunter. Underrated PS2 platformer, horror game, action game. Basically Ghostbusters on steroids is the best way to describe that. Good fun. Godzilla Save the Earth is an interesting spin on Godzilla games, because on this one you actually play as Godzilla, if it's the one I'm thinking of, because there's 2 Godzilla games. Yes, you are. You are playing as Godzilla. And that was nice to kind of have that and start playing as like Kaiju Wars and all of that kind of stuff. Very rough around the edges in terms of how it's actually made and done, but good concept, good fun. One of my favourite games of all time, Gregory Horror Show. So I didn't realise when I bought this that this is actually based off of a CGI cartoon, which I then went and bought all 3 seasons of on DVD and imported them from America, because they're not only the season 1's available in the UK on a UK disc. And this is a puzzle runaway fucked up fest. Is the best way I could describe it. It's one of the most unique gaming experiences I've ever played. I adore it. I love the fact that my nieces are hooked on this game as well. And when my nieces were like tiny, they used to come around and be like, "Oh, Uncle Simon, can we play Wicked games?" And it would normally be that, Katamari, and a couple of other weird and wonderful games that would pop out that they would play. But those are the 2 that kind of have stuck, I think, in their memory the most. Gottlieb Pinball Classics from System 3. I probably imagine that most of these pinball classics, if they are real pinballs, have probably ended up on Zen Pinball since. I don't really have much thought of that. But System 3 have kind of repurposed their same pinball game over and over on each place. There's the original Getaway. All good fun. Good voice acting. Gradius 5, side-scrolling shooter. Good old arcade classics. Gradius games, I think, are... they don't quite get the same hype as R-Type, because I think they're much more arcadey than R-Type is, but they're worthy of their place. Ghostmaster, the Cravenville Chronicles. So if you've never played a Ghostmaster game, essentially you are setting ghosts into a place to scare out everyone that's inside. It's a bit like, it is a tactics game, but in a roundabout way. Probably has more in common with like a Theme Hospital style type game. But just you're laying ghosts down to scare people. Glass Rose is a really weird, it's like a mixture between a point and click adventure and just like a murder mystery. Really laid back, really sedate, interesting. I remember completing it and thinking, what? But yeah, one of the stranger ones that Capcom have released, must be said. God of War. Not much do we need to say about that. Grand Games. Guitar Hero World Tour. Wow. And I still have the instruments. Although I used the Rock Band instruments for that, I think. Gran Turismo 3. A-Spec. Gran Turismo 4. Oh yes. I've become more of a fan of Gran Turismo now than what I did when I had these. I found them quite sterile. GT Sport, I know that I hate the whole kind of business model of having to sign up and do those online races to grind and get money and all of that kind of stuff. But what it did do was it helped me normalise kind of waiting for races and signing up to specific events, and therefore having a guaranteed race to play up against other people, which has helped me kind of get to grips with Gran Turismo more as a series. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Yes. So I've not really played any Grand Theft Auto games. I do have several of them, but I've always got them kind of pre-owned to help me round out a selection of other games that I've got. And I've always kind of said I will get round to playing them because obviously they are great games, but they're just not necessarily my style. So they've always kind of been on the back burner for me. Gauntlet, Dark Legacy. If I remember with this one, the whole thing with Gauntlet with this was that it was 4-player and a 4-player RPG. Sounds like good fun. Groove Rider Slot Car Racing is budget title. Pretty decent actually for slot car racing. Very simple and easy to play. Giants Citizen Kabuto. is a relatively recent game that I've bought, and I've not actually played that, I'm afraid. So this is on my to play list. So I will let you know when I do play it what that is like. Global Defence Force, UDF, UDF, UDF. Before it was UDF, GDF. Grand fun there. Oh dear. Go Diego, go Safari Rescue. It might be good, I don't know. I'm sure it is. Let me have a quick look. I'm intrigued now. Yeah, no, it is proper kiddie game. What can I say? If it's like £1.50 and people are like, oh, I can either go and like have a McDonald's or I can have a game that I can keep forever. Game I can keep forever. I can't help myself. Even if it is trash like that. God of War 2. Guitar Hero Rock the 80s. One of their better themed ones, I must admit. Aha! And here we go. More Gran Turismos. So Grand Theft Auto 3 and Grand Theft Auto Vice City. That's the one I have played. Actually, I've played a bit of 3 as well. But Grand Theft Auto Vice City. So there was an ex of mine who was obsessed with this game because he was obsessed with the 80s. So that is why that used to be on quite often. So I kind of played that quite a bit and vicariously for each other. Gallop Racer 2, again, the horse racings are back. That one's not bad. Not bad. I think I prefer Frankie Dettori. This one, Gallop Racer 2 is a bit more arcadey. Global Defence Force Tactics. Who would have thought that EDF had a tactics game? Ahaha. Who would have thunk it? Again, absolutely rough as a donkey's arse to actually look at. Really well detailed in how it plays though. Recommended. Kind of recommended is Gadget Racers. So this is like an isometric racing game, but the controls make the cars, what's the word I'm thinking of? They handle like trucks, basically. So you have to like really, really throw them around to get them to steer around any kind of corner, which kind of belays the cutesy feel of what you've got. Growlancer Heritage of War. Again, good old tactical RPG going on. Good fun. Again, Rising Star Games, I was mentioning a minute earlier. And Greylancer, of course, just had 1 and 2 kind of come out as a remastered or remade pack again, which I have picked up because this was my only Growlancer experience. And so I was really intrigued to see what 1 and 2 were like as like a reimagining from way back in the 90s as opposed to this one in the early 2000s. Grand Prix Challenge from Atari. I've recently played this and it has not aged well. And I think this is because I'm now spoilt by proper like sim racing games. This is what sim racing would like to have done when there was, if you'd have basically been playing with keyboard controls, because it's all binary, all or nothing. There's nothing in between. Guitar Hero 2. Yee. Love music games, as you can tell. Guitar Hero 3. Legends of Rock. Grandia 2. Not as good as Grandia 1. I adore Grandia 1 on the PS1. Grandia 2, not quite as good for me. Grandia 3 is then a step up and better. But yeah, featuring all new, never before cinematics. I wonder if that means that it had like this, the version that we got in Europe was like Grandia 2 final version or something. Because you could, press was difficult to understand back then because we wasn't connected globally like the internet had us, like fully integrated. So you would never know. The Great Escape. I love it when like films get game tie-ins, and you're like, what? Where did that come from? But I thought that one was actually all right. G1 Jockey 4. Now, this game, is it this one? Or is it the PS3 version? Ooh, I'll have to think. I think it's a PS3 version, so I might shut up. But there was like a thing that you could put on the analog sticks so that you could basically tie them together, and then it would be like you had a rein, so that you could be like that with the analog sticks to go up and down. And I can't remember if it was G1 Jockey 4 or if it was the PS3 one that had it. They're always a little bit more strategic compared to like the Frankie Dettori Racing and the Gallop Racer that we had earlier. Grim Grimoire? Koei should bring that back. That was a great game and a great series. If you liked... it's going to really annoy me now. They do really great hand-painted side-scrolling RPGs. Comment. You'll know. It escapes my brain. But that's what Grim Grimoire essentially became. I think it's beautiful. I love this game. One of my all-time favourite games. Ooh, Guitaroo Man. One of my favourite rhythm action games. Great story, great soundtrack. You play as a guitar and you move like your analog stick around and you press the buttons to strum and change the notes, and you have guitar battles. Fantastic. Love it to bits. Bought the soundtrack and imported it from Japan. Guitar Hero 1, just to complete the set. And then, to round off this video actually, G1 Jockey 1, G1 Jockey 3. Clearly, I liked those horse racing games. And to be fair, I have imported one of the PS4's Winning Post games, which is kind of like the successor to this series, because that's what it's called in Japan now. And they've not really changed very much, if I'm perfectly honest, because I stopped buying the G1 Jockey games when they went to PS3. I think I got one of them then, and then I was like, they've not changed. Stop, Simon. Okay, so those are all the PS2 games that I have put into those little cases. Feels quite sad in a way. I'm about halfway through. Well, we're up to G. I'll do a part 2 of this video where we go through the rest. I hope this has been interesting. I hope it's taken you down some memory lanes. If there are games in here that you've seen that you're like, oh, quite fancy having a look at that and would love to see some gameplay on it, or do a let's play, or maybe save it for some retro live streams, please leave a comment down below so that I can start prioritizing which games we put on the channel. Because I want to go back and I guess what my idea with this channel is starting to become is almost like a gaming library of trying to kind of be a all-encompassing like history of gaming. So not only do I want to do like all of the stuff that is recent, but I also want to do all of the past stuff. And I've been collecting games all my life, well over 30 years, so I've got plenty to show. So thank you so much for watching. Pop down below if you want to see anything, and hopefully join me for part 2 next week, maybe. Okay, take care all. Bye. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane-network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.